Hey, Brown Beauties. Welcome to Well Honestly, the podcast, sponsored by Brown Women Wellness. I'm Andretta, a functional nutrition wellness coach.
And I'm Akila. We are your mother-daughter hosts, bringing two different generations together weekly to educate you on all things related to health, nutrition, financial, and mental wellness during these changing times.
Once we know what choices we have, we can do better because we know the struggle to stay healthy is real.
We invite you to come as you are, but leave inspired to become your best healthy self. So let's get started.
Hey, hey, hey.
Yo, 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 yo.
Welcome to another episode of Well Honestly,
where we meet you where you are on your wellness journey with topics you can relate to.
And this is another episode. We
episode
on 75.
Wow.
So what is this episode all about?
Well, this is our hot topic episode. We are discovering all of the different hot topics across the world, really, and we are here to discuss them as it relates to wellness and nutrition.
And let me tell you something. We ran this one in the Facebook group, and if you're not a part of Brown Women Wellness Facebook group, please find us.
Facebook, but the who?
I know, right?
Facebook group.
Let me. Okay, there we go.
I can't.
Okay, Facebook group,
Yes.
Brown Women Wellness. This subject was so hot. We had 895 hits.
Well, it's literally
a hot topic everywhere.
It's not good.
When I first heard this, I thought there was an error. I said, "How?"
Me too.
I said, "How in the world could?" So let's tell people what it is.
So our hot topic right now, we're talking about the baby formula shortage. I know, right? I don't know what's that about. Wow. All right. The baby formula shortage. The who, the what, the why, the how of it all. And honestly, when I heard this, I kind of dismissed it. Because when have you ever heard about baby formula being
and why would you have a baby
short
formula?
supply?
I mean, we know that there is a supply chain problem across the world right now that came out of COVID, but baby formula?
Right, of all things.
I mean, how come we can't have a gun shortage?
Listen.
Okay.
Right on time.
All right. That's what we need to have a shortage of.
I
But no, they come up here with baby formula. So let's talk about why. So what I found out, Keela, was the FDA closed one of the facilities because 4 infants who drank formula produced there contracted infections, bacterial infections, and 2 of them died.
Really? I wasn't hip to the why this is a thing. I just know it was happening.
There was a whistleblower inside that plant. And they sent something in October and it accused the company, and I'm not going to call their names, but people who are following this know who it is, of numerous safety violations at the plant. Okay. So stuff was happening. It was happening. So it gone from curious inconvenience to a full-blown national crisis only in America. So then in Texas and in Tennessee, more than half of the formula was sold out in the stores. Nationwide, 40% of the formula is out of stock. The parents have started to stockpile formula like they did that toilet tissue, remember?
Which I actually don't blame them in this situation because your child needs to eat. And if you have to rely on formula and you just can't run out of formula.
Baby, shout out to all the breastfeeding moms out there, because
it's a blessing.
Keep on breastfeeding. And you might have to share some of that breastfeed milk.
Yeah, there are companies out there that do that where women who have a huge supply of breast milk, actually they'll store it, they'll freeze it, and then the company will pick it up, they'll sterilize it, and then they'll take it to women who need it. So that actually is a real thing.
So I'm going to go and bust this thing out and tell y'all who it is. So the bacteria was investigated at Abbott Labs. They are a major producer of infant formula. So they found a pathogen in one of the Michigan plants. So as a result, the FDA didn't have no choice but to recall several brands of the formula. And parents were advised not to buy or use any formula tied to that plant. How do you know which plant?
I was just about to say, so let's think about that. If you're stockpiling formula under the guise that there is a shortage, but if you're not aware that the shortage is due to the fact that there was a serious and a very rare bacterial infection in some of these formula, could you possibly be stockpiling some of that infected formula? Because how do you really know?
So even if there was baby formula out there
it may not be safe.
I would be weary of it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's really bad.
It's bad. And then, that's the second thing was, of course, was the virus. They said, the pandemic snarled a lot of the supply chains. I don't think of a market is yanked around more, they said, than the infant formula. So sales, by the way, skyrocketed up as people started stockpiling. There's a supply and demand thing, sort of like what's happening in the housing industry. And so sales go up. And so it made, for production, families started working through the stockpiles. The oscillation made planning for production extremely difficult. They said it was very complicated to get an idea. So it was, and get this, Keela, there's an uptick in births from the pandemic since early 22. People were at home.
Yeah, making babies.
So we got a pandemic birth boom.
Yeah, making babies.
Mm-hmm. So that was number 2. And then, of course, America with their regulatory and trade policy. And while that might not sound very interesting to most people, as the bacteria viruses, but it's an important part of the story too, because the FDA regulation of the formula is very stringent, that most of the stuff that comes out of Europe is illegal to buy here due to technicalities like the labeling requirements, okay? So they said that one study found that many European formulas met the FDA nutritional guidelines in some ways, might even be better than the American formula, but because the European Union banned certain sugars like corn syrup and all of that, it requires the formulas to have a higher share of lactose. So some parents don't care about what the FDA is trying to do or circumvent, but the U.S. custom agents have been known to seize shipments at the border of the baby formula. Can you believe that? So the U.S. policy is also part of the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got a threefold problem going on here. So this is why it's a whole problem here. And so what's the solution? I guess that's what we need to be thinking about next. And before we get into that, let me just say this. I came from an era, I'm gonna say it, where my mama made her own baby formula. Okay. She made her baby formula. And I know it's some listeners out there that know what I'm talking about. Y'all know about that baby formula where our parents actually made it. And if I recall, it was evaporated milk, water, and Karo syrup. Yeah. That's what they made it out of. And they would boil it in the water. They would boil it, put it in a glass bottle. So yeah, I want you to know that, hey, and I'm here.
Girl.
And my whole generation is here.
Girl.
So just want you to know. So tell them though what's in that commercial baby formula. They need to know because this might be a blessing in disguise.
No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that if you can, try to do your own thing. If you have no other choice, then take this with a grain of salt, right? So basically in commercial formula, it's full of corn and soy of all types of varieties.
GMO corn and soy.
Correct. Well, most corn and soy is GMO.
Well, our audience may not know that, so you have to be sure to say that.
And then, it has, a lot of sugar. 50% sugar, basically made up of sugar of corn syrup. There is no real nutrient-dense ingredients in commercial formulas. And it has a lot of fortified synthetic vitamins and minerals. It can contain a lot of dangerous fats. So it's missing the good fats and there's a lot of the dangerous fats that are put in. And it's also lacking enzymes, and it's just basically not a living product, meaning that there is no valuable nutrients that could sustain a body outside of just having a supply of calories to maintain, living. Yeah, it
don't sound good.
In truth, the formula, if we put everything off the table, we just talk about the formula in its own self. Formula is filled with
crap,
bad things. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just the bottom line.
But it's like everything else we are given, it's right. It's no different.
But that's just the formula by itself.
Right.
But I am sensitive to people who have no other choice.
Okay.
But to buy formula and use it for
I
various
understand.
different reasons.
Yeah.
Some people don't have access to make
True.
things on their own.
True.
Some people are living below the poverty line, so they don't have no choice but to have this formula. They can't breastfeed. They don't have access to people who can just supply their breast milk to other people, because those things are expensive as well. So there's a lot of reasons why people use formula, but it is important to be aware of formula and what it can or can't do for a baby, not just give it to the baby and have no substance behind it, right?
Breast milk is sounding
So
better and better,
I wanna
don't
put
it?
that out there, because I'm not the type of person, I'm not gonna gloss over the fact that some people actually need to use formula. But you also need to know, the pros and cons to formula as well. I don't want to be insensitive.
Okay, we get that. But we also want to give you guys alternatives. And listen, we're not giving you, this is not medically sound advice.
We are not doctors.
We are
I am
not
not
doctors.
a nutritionist. I am not any of that.
I am
so
a
don't come trying to
nutritionist,
sue
but
me.
I am a nutritionist. However, we just giving you, this is, always get doctor's advice, okay? But there are a couple, and if you go across the internet, there are quite a few formula, you'll see quite a few recipes out there. We have one here. Again, it's not backed by any science or anything. So don't want you guys to go rush out and use this stuff, and,
basically do your research.
But there are quite a few formulas out here that you can find that were, of course we had to get creative. So people are looking, and if you go on Pinterest and all those places, you see quite a few baby formulas. But again,
and the blessing in disguise, like you were saying, Andretta, is that if this was ever a calling card to make your own thing, to start to if you ever wanted to research more heavily into what you're eating, what your children are eating, if you ever want to start to take things into your own hand, this is the perfect time to do so. All things considered.
Absolutely. I mean, start with the babies, okay? And again, this information in our post is not evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration or any other medical body. We do not aim to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any illnesses or diseases. Information is shared for educational purposes only. I had to say that because I don't want anybody coming back saying, wow, they gave a baby formula. All right, when we come back, it's time for our Don't Change the Menu, Just Change the Ingredients segment, where we're going to give you a food swap to make your life healthier. We'll be right back. Brown Women Wellness mission is to empower brown women and their families through education and products to help improve their family health and wellness through a lifestyle of easy and actionable steps. I'm Andretta Robinson, functional nutrition wellness coach. In 2008, I was diagnosed with an early stage of cancer. My doctor wanted to remove my womb as a cure, but I was determined there had to be another way. After lots of research, I found a curable alternative, forcing my doctor to treat it without any surgery. And in 2018, I was visiting my aunt in Atlanta after having lost my mother to heart disease and saw her health was in distress with high blood pressure and all things related. A visit to the health food store to formulate herbal teas, which is now called Brown Women Wellness Anti-Inflammation Tea, and a diet and lifestyle change turned my aunt's health around. I knew I had found my calling. We bring you healthy lifestyle information through our Brown Women Wellness website, our Brown Women Wellness Facebook group, emails, Instagram, and other social media websites, and our Well Honestly podcast. Find us. You'll be glad you did.
All right. And we are back with what is growing to be a very popular segment on our podcast. And it's actually one of my favorites. It's the Don't Change the Menu, Just Change the Ingredients segment, where we give you food swaps to make your life healthier. I tried to say that clean without messing up, but that was a fail. So today's Don't Change the Menu, Just Change the Ingredients segment is all about store-bought jam. Okay, now, me personally, I love me some jam. I like toasting jam. I like jam
Toasting jam. You know what that sounds like?
No.
Okay. Now go ahead.
God.
Go ahead.
You was about to take us into a whole shebang.
I sure was.
I can't. Toasting jam. I like biscuits and jam. I like, did you know you can even make a cocktail with jam? Now that's taking it to another level, and it's good too. But anyway,
really?
Yes, Lord. But
really? Did you yes, Lord it?
Yes, good.
All right, okay.
But Jam is really good. I think most people really love jam. But the popular store-bought jams like your Smuckers
Smuckers
and your Welch's are made with a lot of high fructose corn syrup. It's not organic. It also has a lot of the dirty dozen pesticides in the actual
produce
that is used in it. A lot of stabilizers, on the shelf that they put in there. So the reason why Smuckers is not refrigerated is because it has a lot of stabilizers in it that basically gives it a long shelf life. Things that you really don't want to be eating all the time. So basically what we decided to do
was make
your own. Now, personally speaking, I enjoy making jams. Just like I enjoy making salad dressing. I mean, I like to cook when I feel like it. But making your own jam is easy, y'all. When I tell you easy, you actually be like, why wasn't I doing this sooner? It's just because maybe you didn't know, or maybe you thought it was too hard. But it's easy. All you have to do,
take your pot out.
First of all, yes, you have to cook jam now.
Yeah.
So what you do is you're going to get all your favorite berries, fresh or frozen. It does not matter. Personally speaking, I like to do frozen. Fresh is cool, but fresh will go bad a little bit faster because remember, when you make something at home, you're not stabilizing it like you would in the store. So the shelf life is going to be short. So when you're making this stuff, make sure that you make small quantities at a time. Or if you're going to make big quantities because you know that you're going to eat it faster, that's fine too. So you're going to get your berries, fresh or frozen, doesn't matter. Lemon juice, and you want honey. Now, there's a couple different ways to make at-home jam, right? Some people will make it and start with a simple syrup. You know what simple syrup is, Jordan?
I do.
So they'll make it started with sugar and honey.
That's a quick hack.
Not sugar and honey, excuse me. What did I just say that?
Simple syrup.
Sugar and water.
Oh.
And they will boil the sugar and the water and it reduces it down so that all of the I'm not going to get too technical, but it reduces down the sugar and the water to where it becomes a syrup, and that is your simple syrup. Okay. So you can start it there. Simple syrups, you can tweak the sweetness level of it all. So it can be extremely sweet. It can be not as sweet, whatever the case may be. But some people start that as their base.
Okay.
From there, you're going to add your frozen or your fresh blueberries, strawberries, whatever kind of berries, preservatives, mangoes, whatever you want. From there, you're going to whip those two things together, get it nice and simmer it out on the pot. You're going to add your lemon juice. Lemon juice is going to cut some of that sweetness. And also as an acid, it will help to stabilize it just a little bit.
Ooh, you're speaking like a true chef over there, girl. And you're getting excited too.
I'm getting excited because it's easy, y'all, and it's really good. So you want to get some lemon juice and then you want to do some honey because simple syrups aren't as sweet as people think it is. It really is just a concentration. So a little bit of honey will kind of stabilize and give it some flavor. From there, you are going to let that put it on the pot and let it simmer for about 20 minutes. You can add vanilla extract. You can add cinnamon. You can add dates if you want to make it sweeter. You can do whatever you want to do to make it sweet, but that's it.
And then don't forget, you can store it in our favorite storage? Oh gosh, I just had a brain fog.
Mason jars.
Oh
my God.
I'm looking at these little mason jars and I'm like, where can he find those at? But yeah, mason jars, glass mason jars, so it'll keep longer.
Yeah. And it's easy. And I want somebody to try it and tell me what you think about it because I personally love making my own jams. And then you can also freeze it if you don't want to get to it right away. But just have fun experimenting and playing with it and use that on your toast, jam, biscuits, and everything else.
Toast jams. Okay.
All right. So on that note, that's today's episode. So be on the lookout, everybody. You know where you can find us, Brown Women Wellness, across all social platforms. Also our Facebook group at Brown Women Wellness. Well, honestly, the podcast, also on social media as well. We also send out email. So if you are on our email list,
are starting to and if you're not on the email list, they can go to brownwomenwellness.com. Right? brownwomenwellness.com, and you can just join our email list.
And when you join the email list, you'll get a recipe for the baby formula. You'll also get a recipe on the homemade jarred jam, so be on the lookout for that. Just sign up and you'll get that. So yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Well Honestly, the podcast. If you want to know more about us and our products, check us out over on our website at brownwomenwellness.com. And remember, ladies, we are not doctors, and any information shared by us is not medical advice. always follow your doctor's advice.
And don't forget to rate and review our podcast and let us know what you loved about this week's episode. And please subscribe to wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Feel free to email us and let us know what you would like to hear more of from us. Don't be afraid to say hi. We'll say hi right back to you.
Don't forget to find us across all social platforms at Brown Women Wellness. As always, show notes with links to what we talked about today in this week's episode will be in the description box below. Thanks for listening.